So as a designer, visual appeal to me is about communication. We respond to a brief or set of requirements in a visual way in our industry. So I thought I'd talk about communication from a few different aspects. The tools, the graphic images that we use to convey an idea, aesthetics, just the effect that we're trying to create in a new environment, and the design narrative, the intelligence and critique, decisions that go into our design. Tools are our visual aids. There is not right or wrong way to use these, and it's really about picking and selecting the best tool to convey what it is you want to say. The diagram is a really great way of showing the development of a design and the key design principles and sources of inspiration in a project. And it is really a great reference tool throughout the life to refer back to. This is quite personal, and it should really just reflect your process in order to reach a design outcome. In thinking about the way in which users engage with a space, there are a number of ways you can think about planning strategies and orientation of space. The hierarchy of noisy to quiet space, spatial relationships, built form versus open space, circulation, how is a large space broken down, how a space is different or the same, really about the need of a space. Another aspect is creating a set of like a rule book or a set of guidelines around client requirements that you can then implement throughout the life of the project. The kit of parts, workplace, but it also really relates to retail and different size stores, and also agile demount design. Another aspect is key elements of a design. You can start to show these quite early on as key moves, the materiality and the details that you want to continue to explore throughout the design and get client on board with these. So all of these are about really creating an overarching framework that your design develops from. The use of image as kind of reflective of your process. So I think that you don't need to create whole new content to show a client. They would like to understand how you have arrived at the decisions you have. And this process can be your natural process. So for me, it's from the sketch through raw model to possibly a final rendered image at the end. So you can show those iterative processes to a client. Another way to represent design graphically is to consider what it is you're trying to convey in that image. So you restrict information to highlighting else. White rendered models with collage materials, real and textures are a great way to show a design, AXO plan. Think about what it is that you're trying to convey. It doesn't have to be overlaid with information, and that can be quite simple. 3D models are still fantastic, and there's actually quite a good relationship that you have with a real model that you don't necessarily get in a computer-aided model. Aesthetics relate to our emotions and sensory kind of perceptions in relation to design. It's really important, I think about how a human might experience a space. We are naturally drawn to things that trust. So how does a sense of place, how is that established in your design? What is the light quality? What are the emotive qualities? How does it feel? What is the mood? What is the context? What is the atmosphere? Using photographs, sections, axos to really show how people engage and use a place can really give a sense of relatedness to how they transition out of that space. Materials are great tactile sources of inspiration, and these are what we build in and deal with. Graphic images can also really reflect our design idea. The design narrative is really our ongoing design conversation and all of those decisions that get wrapped up into our whole design story. And there are many aspects to this, and so much detail be pulled out to explain within this. So This is a concept of weathering on a large commercial building, an idea about excavation that came from an underground dike on the site, and also a sense of connectedness and user engagement that was desirable to create. So this weathered concept was taking into the lobby space. The floors, the walls, the ceilings, all the design elements were considered within an overarching kind of concept that allowed different functions to fit within, but it still looked like a unified whole, and the material interesting. So this is just some photos, and that's the end. Thanks, guys.